What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, I gotta do a video about Colin Moriarty because he's a Moriarty. He's a special type of donkey unicorn. He's evolving before our eyes, and basically just, I don't want to say lying. He's twisting and spinning the actual facts and reality, and of course negating the fact that PlayStation is doing the exact same thing. Anyway, I watched his goofy video. I'll do a video about that maybe tomorrow. Today is about state of play. Sean says state of piss. I say state of multiplat. PlayDeadStation's state of multiplat. Basically, because what did they have? One new game. What was it called? Samadan. It doesn't matter. It's just a Returnal knockoff, by the same, by Housemarque. So it's like it's Returnal, but it's a guy in a different location. It's gonna be the same game. It's gonna be the same game, except it's a palette swap, basically. Maybe they'll have some different What are different mechanics? They didn't show anything. It was all CG trailer, so not coming until 2028. PlayStation 6, if there is a PlayStation 6. That state of play can be summed up by one title: Days Gone Remaster. That is the state of PlayStation. Remastered. That's the state. I was like, they did it right. They should. And I need Digital Foundry to get on that. I want to see the difference because they show pictures. I was like before I could tell, yeah, okay, but I mean, it was such a small difference that it didn't matter. For real, now I'm like, I cannot see the difference between remastered and the original. And I'm trying my hardest not to dip into the Colin Moriarty rhetoric because he said some things that are just asinine. And he's becoming more the fact that he's so intelligent makes me so angry because I'm like, why are you using your brain power to be a donkey unicorn? Anyway, that's tomorrow. But this state of play was hot trash garbage. Not because all the games were garbage. I mean, it was a lot of noise if you want to kind of distill it down. It's like there's a bunch of third person actiony shooter. That was the state of play. The one game, what was it, Konami game with the octopus? Everybody keeps saying, yo, that's dope. And I saw that, I was like, oh, that's like one of the few games that kind of unique, and yeah, probably play that or something. Everything else was like, oh, that's a knockoff of this, that's a knockoff of that. That wants to be Exhibition 33, but it's not as good. And a lot of them, I forgot which. The titles are so generic that it's like I can't remember any of them. That's how bad that was. It was a bunch of just, let's do a sci-fi third-person shooter title generator, and that's what the names of the games were. Because I can't even remember the octopus name, but still, I remember Days Gone Remastered because we know that game already. Man, it's like forgettable after forgettable after forgettable. And I think that one game that's trying to be like Expedition 33 is I think a Chinese or Shanghai something studio. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. People are like, oh, the Chinese are taking over video games. I'm like, I mean, they're trying. They're making pretty good games, but they're not taking over. It's near impossible for one region to take over the video game industry. Japan has their top players, Capcom. I would say Sony, but they haven't put out a good game since. I mean, you know what? Astrobot's a good game. It just didn't perform. So it depends on how you gauge these things, right? But Sony's been underperforming. Square Enix has been underperforming by their standards. Their games are good, but it's just like nobody's buying them. So are they really good? Right? That's what the Donkey Unicorns and the Ponies always kind of gauge success. It's based off of how many sales, right? That's the same thing that the King Donkey Unicorn. Anyway, that's tomorrow. So I'm thinking. I'm trying to recall the different games, and once again, 2 games. The Cybernos, Sobolos, whatever it's called, the Returnal ripoff, and the remastered. Those are the only 2 PlayStation first party games. Yes, they have a third party. I forgot what game it was. They're publishing one of the other games. Out of the how many games are at that state of trash? I'm like, come on, man. It's like, how are you a PlayStation fan? How are you even staying focused and staying positive? You can't be. I saw MBG over there getting mad because his chat, he was watching the State of Piss, and his chat was like, Xbox better, Xbox better, Xbox butter, Xbox better. And he got mad. And the same thing happened to Reforged Gamer, Xbox better. He had to shut down the chat because like, oh, nobody can talk now because the people are talking. What's wrong? You don't like the democracy happening? You want to be freaking a dictator over there? Reforge? That was funny. I was like, wow, he put it on members only. And they were still doing it. And Fataga was watching them and he was cracking up. I was like, yes, this is what happens. This is what happens when Ponies, Donkey Unicorns, for 10 years at least, have been, dogging, talking shite to Xbox fans, right? Now, tables are turning. You getting that fragrance. You getting that PlayStation fragrance. It smell good, don't it? Yeah. And no matter what Donkey Unicorn King, Colin Moriarty, or whoever else says anything, Reforged the wannabe Colin Moriarty, no matter what they say, the facts are the facts, and reality is reality, and Sony is not looking good right now. They got no games, and the games they got, remastered. Shioe said it. Y'all gotta buy the remastered. I'm like, yo, first off, if you make a remaster, make it good. If you make a remaster and it looks exactly like the same one, I hear people saying, yo, it's the PC version. I was like, that's not a remaster. That's just the PC version. What are you doing? I'm like, yo, that's just, Sony is just like, they just trying to con y'all. It's crazy. It's crazy. I am amazed at how the industry is right now. Now, while people are focusing on, oh, Xbox is the third party, blah, blah, blah. That's what the whole Colin House is talking about. But they're not seeing the forest for the trees, as he would say. And what's happening in the industry is people aren't buying games. Casuals aren't buying those Sony bangers. So what does Sony do? How will Sony continue, or I should say, how will Sony maintain the perception of being number one? Well, I mean, financially, they're, what is it, 7%? They got profit? I think Xbox is, last number I heard was 12. I think it might be higher than that. And that's the slap in the face, right? Colin don't say nothing about those numbers. But Microsoft is doing better. They're making more profit than Sony. Not more revenue, more profit, which is more important because that's the money that you put in your pocket. You can make, hey, this year we made more revenue than last year. What was the profit? The profit was like negative something. Oh, so you ain't make no money. You made less money. You made negative money. but you made more profit, but you spent more money. So the money you spent was more than the profit that you made, the revenue that you made. So that's not a winning scenario. That's not a winning formula. That's not a winning corporation. And these Naki unicorns and these ponies are sitting here and they're trying to, push the 75 million. How do they just 5 million? Like I said before, they're counting sold in, not sold through. So as many consoles that Sony can produce, manufacture, that's the number they're counting. So the number that they're saying, 75 million, that's what they're making. That's how many consoles they have produced to sell, not what they have sold through to customers. And people aren't saying anything. PlayStation, Colin McGarty's not gonna say nothing about that. So I'm gonna still say they had 50-something million. They had 50-something million. They're closer to Xbox than people realize. But I mean, if Xbox wanted to say, how many Xbox chips we sold, or sold or produced, let's just say, they probably made more than PlayStation, because all the servers that are for cloud for those are all Xboxes basically. I think some are Xbox S's and some are X's, and the X's constitute, I think, 4 S's. They can compute 4 X's versus the S is just S. So I think their blades are Xbox Series X equivalent. And I think there were 2 X. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, each blade is equivalent to 4 Xboxes basically. So when you look at it that way, it's like, oh well, Xbox has more, if you will. You want to look at it numbers wise, like how Sony and their math, whatever, that Japanese math, using that abacus. I said abacus. Anyway, it's I don't know. It's very telling how the narrative is. Just pay attention to the narrative. Pay attention to these fanboys, Nike unicorns, what they're saying. Pay attention. Now, remember, Colin put that Icarus thing out there. I bet you there are gonna be some parrots out there talking about Icarus too close to the sun. Boo, boo, boo. I got an Icarus analogy for y'all. That's gonna be tomorrow's video. But I appreciate y'all hanging out, like and subscribe. Hit me up in the comments below. Let me know what you think about that state of trash, that state of multiplat. I mean, if you look at the different showcases, Xboxes, which was like the best, versus PlayStation, which is a multiplat fest. Come on, son. It, like, in the public eye, if a public person was just looking at it, they'd say, oh, it's games. They might think it's all for PlayStation, but it's not. And how they put it, they only say PlayStation only, PlayStation only. When it's a multiplat. See how they're being disingenuous? Well, Xbox is like, oh, we'll put that on there. We'll put a PlayStation 5 on there. They should stop doing it. They should stop doing it. They should. But anyway, maybe it's a contract. Who knows? But I'll talk to you on the next one. Take it, weed.